Welcome to the first video of the fiction series. This time we're going to translate the very beginning of Spirited Away because it's pretty good to see quite natural, casual Japanese. So here are the things we're going to study in this video. And by the way, the movie is available on Netflix. So if you've got Netflix, you can watch the first 16 seconds of the beginning of the movie, so until the second line from the mother. So no actual listening test here, but press pause to check what you want if you can do it, and we're getting started. So the first sentence is actually on the card that Chihiro was given by her friends. So it's written, Chihiro, genki de ne, mata ao ne. So Chihiro, genki de ne. So genki, we've seen it, is used to ask someone, how are you? How are you? Genki desu ka? How are you? It's also an adjective that means lively or fine. Are you fine? Genki desu ka? Are you fine? But here, be careful, because first you see that it's not genki desu ne. That would mean, for example, oh, you're in a good shape. You're lively today. It's genki de ne, genki de ne. And it's an expression. When you say o genki de, it means take care when you won't see the person for a while. So, for example, if you go to Japan and you make some friends, at some point you go back to your country, they're going to say o genki de. Of course, here you don't have the o. It's not o genki de ne, but genki de ne, because the o is to be polite. It's to be respectful. But since they are close friends, since they are young, she is not going to use the o. So it's just genki de ne. So Chihiro, take care. And then we have mata ao ne, mata ao ne. So mata means again. Ao comes from the verb ao, to meet, which, by the way, is used with the ni particle and not the o particle. In English, we say, for example, I will meet my friends. It's an object. In Japanese, it's used with the ni, so tomodachi ni aimasu, tomodachi ni aimasu, tomodachi o aimasu doesn't exist. But something's weird here is that it's not mata au or mata aimasu. Well, of course, since once again she's not polite, but it's not mata au, it's mata ao. So when you have a verb that ends with the sound o, then it means let's. So the polite form is quite simple because it's just a mass form. So you know aimasu, aimasen, aimashita, aimasen deshita. Well, now you have mashou. And of course, it works with every verb. So, ikimasu, ikimashou. Tabemasu, tabemashou. Machimasu, machimashou. So, the mas becomes mashou. So this one, you can do it. In polite form, you can do it. Now, for the casual form, it's a little bit more complicated. We won't even see it today. We'll see it later so that you don't have so much conjugation to learn right away. But anyway, when you hear a verb ending with o, like you see ao, iko, tabeyo, mato, anyway, it's going to mean let's. So you can do it by yourself, but when you hear it, you can understand it. And so it means, take care, Chihiro, let's meet again. Ao, let's meet, mata, again. But this mata is actually used a lot as a parting expression. So originally it means again, but it's also used a lot when you want to see you. It's kind of the equivalent word for see you. So for example, mata ne, see you soon. You can just say mata, ja mata, see you. You can also combine it. Mata ashita, ashita is tomorrow. So mata ashita, see you tomorrow. また来週。来週 is next week, so また来週。see you next week. So it's the equivalence for see you. So when you want to say goodbye to a friend, just say またね. So it's a very convenient expression that you should remember. And so here, let's meet again works in English. It works. You can translate it like literally, but you feel that you have this parting expression, mata. Then we have ne. Both sentences end with ne. So I bet you've heard it tons of times. Kawaii ne. This kind of sentences. So this is an end sentence particle. So this particle, you place it at the end of a sentence. And it will indicate, two different things. First thing is that you seek confirmation. You ask the listener if he agrees with you. You seek confirmation. So this is why in many situations you can translate it by right. So take care, Chihiro, right? Let's meet again, right? But you see here that maybe it's not like a real confirmation, you see? It's more like her friend tries to be kind towards her. So ne is used a lot. Not when you are asking, not when you are seeking confirmation per se, but when you want to be kind towards the listener, when you want to show that you take him into consideration, but you still feel that she's a bit little insistent. You see, take care, Chihiro, right? Let's meet again, right? Like she really wants to see her again, and so she adds ne at the end of both sentences. So in that video, I will try to explain you how ne works, and then yo, because you have ne and you have yo. But these particles, it's by like bumping into them all the time that you are going to really understand how they're used. Then first, actual sentence that is said. So, お父さん, this is the kanji for father. So, お父さん. So, he says, 千尋, もうすぐだよ. So, もうすぐ means soon, before long. Sugu, when used alone, means right away, immediately. So, you can learn it because you will see it all the time. もうすぐだよ, you see that you have da. So da is the plain form of des. So it means the exact same thing. You will use it the exact same way, but it's just a plain form. When you speak casually, you don't use des, you use da. So he could have said もうすぐですよ, but of course, since he talks to his daughter, he's not going to be polite. So, もうすぐだよ. So try to translate it. You can translate it literally at first, and then try to understand what he means based on the context, of course. So literally, it's before long. もうすぐだ. It's before long. So here it means we're almost there, of course. もうすぐだ is used a lot when you want to announce that it's gonna happen shortly, so whatever it is, okay, any context. For example, you're a student and next week you're going to have exams. So you're going to say もうすぐだね, もうすぐだね. It's before long, so it's going to happen shortly. Then here, you don't have ne at the end of the sentence, but yo. So the two main particles that you will always hear at the end of sentences in real life are yo and ne. They're used all the time. So this yo is actually quite the opposite of ne. When you use ne, you want to show that you take the listener into consideration. But with yo, it's the opposite. You say what you have to say and you kind of don't care about what the listener thinks. So it's first to announce new information. And then, but it's kind of the same, it's for a statement. So it's when you have something to say and you say it and you want the listener to hear to what you have to say. So here it's kind of a mix of the three. It's for new information. He wants to tell Chihiro that they're, reaching their destination, but then you also feel that it's kind of an exclamation and it's a statement, like he doesn't ask Chihiro's opinion, just we're almost there and that's it, and he wants to tell her. Then next sentence. So this time it's the mother talking, and so this is the kanji for mother. So お母さん, お母さん. So she says, やっぱり田舎ね. So first this one. やっぱり田舎ね. So やっぱり is a very convenient expression, a word that means, yeah, I knew it, or as expected, or just as I thought. So I bet you've heard it tons of times in anime too, and if you didn't, listen carefully, you will hear it all the time. So やっぱり, やっぱり. やっぱり is the casual oral version. When you're writing, you say やはり, or when you're very formal, but so you won't hear it a lot, okay? やはり, you won't hear it a lot. You will hear やっぱり, やっぱり, but it's the same word. It's the same word. As we've seen in the previous video, it's very common that in casual Japanese, words kind of change, kind of transform, and many times you add little tsu. So やはり, やっぱり, little tsu. And inaka means countryside. And then you have another ne. So it's the ne particle, it's just that this one is long. It's not やっぱり田舎ね, it's やっぱり田舎ね. It's long. I think I don't have to explain it because you feel it with the intonation, the way it's said. やっぱり田舎ね. So I think that you understand the meaning just with the intonation. But don't you think that the sentence lacks something because you just have やっぱり, countryside, and that's it. So yes, you should have a da or a des between inaka and ne. やっぱり田舎だね, or やっぱり田舎ですね. But when in casual speech, you can omit da. Okay, so we've seen that to speak casually, des becomes da, but you can also not say it at all. So of course you have a subtle difference between when you use da or when you don't use it. So it's a bit complicated and a bit useless to know that for the moment, but know that when you use da, it's a little bit more assertive than when you don't use da. And basically in Japan, women are supposed to be less assertive than men because, they must be feminine, etc. Well, it's Japan. And since Chihiro is an old movie, you feel it even more. So the mother is not going to use da, while the father will use it a lot more. So the father is more assertive than the mother. But so anyway, translate it as if you had やっぱり田舎ですね. So first literally, and then try to understand what she actually wants to say based on the context. So it means as expected, it's countryside. And so what she wants to say is that they're in the middle of nowhere. So she's a bit disappointed, or not disappointed, but she was used to live in a city. We feel it, you see. So やっぱり田舎ね, as expected, it's in the middle of nowhere. Then, second sentence. So this one is interesting. So 買い物は隣町に行くしかなさそうね. 買い物は隣町に行くしかなさそうね. So, remember what I told you in the previous video? Find the core verb and then delete whatever is after the core verb. So, of course, here the core verb is iku. and this shikanasaso is kind of boring. You don't understand what's this, so delete it. And it's much simpler. So kaimono wa tonari machi ni iku. But still, it's not going to be so easy to translate. So try to do it, try to think about it, understand how the particles work, and good luck. So of course the problem in the sentence is this wa particle, because I bet that you used to translate it as a subject. So something like the groceries are going to the next city, but you see it's like impossible, it doesn't work. So beware, because wa never indicate the subject. Even when you translate a word with wa as a subject, think that it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence because wa never indicates a subject. Wa only indicates the theme. And what is the theme? It's what we're talking about. And it means that everything that follows this word is information about it. So here, kaimono is the theme, and tonari machi ni iku is just some information about kaimono. By the way, wa in most situation adds a contrast nuance. And this is this contrast nuance that is making you struggle with the sentence, because in this sentence, the contrast nuance is huge. And whenever you have a sentence where the wa particles got this huge contrast nuance, you will see that you will struggle at the beginning to translate it. So, one tip. When you have a sentence that begins with this wa, and you struggle to translate it, you see that this wa, I can translate it like I usually translate it, like you're a bit stuck with this wa. Then translate it by concerning or as for, and you will see that in most situation it's going to like unlock the sentence. So here, kaimono wa as for the groceries, concerning the groceries. Tonari machi ni iku will go in the next tone. So of course you have to add the subject, because as I told you, wa does not indicate the subject. And here it is indeed not the subject. But if you translate with as for, then you might get it. You might understand that you have to add the subject, okay? So add a pronoun that looks like it fits the context. So here, we is pretty good. So as for groceries, we'll go in the next tone. So really be careful about this wa, and whenever you see that it's a bit weird, like it doesn't work, then translate it by concerning or as for, and you will see that like it works. Almost all the time it works. Then for tonari machi ni iku, well, the ni, the destination, the target ni will go to the next tone. And so we once again have two sentences ending with ne. So this is also perfect, like the beginning of this movie is perfect to show you that it's actually really rare when you speak in Japanese that you don't add ne or yo at the end of a sentence. Like most of the time you add a ne or a yo. And once again, this ne is to ask the listener's agreement, or rather because she's not like, once again, she's not asking confirmation per se. And you see that I didn't add any right at the end of my translation because it's more subtle than a right. You see, a right would be way too heavy. It's not like a pure agreement that she seeks, you see? So you can't really translate it. But she wants to show her husband that she shares her thoughts with him. She is including him in her conversation, in her thoughts. So basically, it's just used to make conversation to show she's talking to him and that she wants him to answer. She is not speaking alone. She's taking him into consideration when she speaks. Okay, so we're fine, but still we're going to try getting deeper into this shikanasaso. So we are going to ignore the saso, the nasaso, because it's a bit complicated, but we are going to see the shikanai. Shikanasaso comes from shikanai. So it's an expression, and when you use a verb and then shikanai, it means to have no choice but doing this. So, nai is aru. Actually, it's aru, the verb arimasu. It is the negative form of arimasu. So, you know arimasen, aru, arimasu, arimasen, and nai is the casual negative form. So it's the same thing as arimasen. So I know they're not similar at all. Nai, arimasen, like it's completely different. But nai is the negative form. Arimasen is also the negative form. It's just that nai is casual and arimasen is polite. But what I mean is that shikanai could be shika arimasen or shikanai desu. Of course, it works. It depends on if you want to be polite or not. And by the way, be careful because the verb that you use before this expression has to be the dictionary form. So the dictionary form is like the basic form. Taberu, miru, oyogu, hanasu, kaku. You see the basic form that you find in the dictionary. This is why it's called the dictionary form, but it's like the basic form of the verb. When it's not conjugated, it's like pure. You can't use any other form before this expression. So basically, it's a verb in dictionary form, then shika, then the verb aru in negative form. Okay, so nai or nai desu or arimasen. So few examples. Yaru shikanai. Yaru shikanai. So yaru means to do, but it's like stronger than suru. Yaru has this nuance of accomplishing something, while suru is just like basic to do something, but yaru, it's more like accomplish something. So yaru shikanai. We have no choice but to do it. You have no choice but to do it. So just gotta do it. You could say, yaru shika arimasen or yaru shikanai desu. It's the same, okay? It's the same. It's just that you're being polite. Then, 来週はテストだ。来週はテストだ。So next week we have a test. 毎日勉強するしかない。毎日勉強するしかない。So I have no choice but to study every day. しかない。I have no choice but 勉強する to study 毎日 every day. Then 橋がない。There are no sticks. So you see 橋がない。ない。ありません。橋がありません。You see that it is the verb あります but in casual form. So 橋がない。橋がありません。There are no sticks. 手で so 手 means hands. 手で食べるしかないね。手で食べるしかないね。So we have no choice but to eat it by hands. We'll have to eat it by hands. And then やめるしかありませんよ。やめるしかありませんよ。So you have no choice but to quit. You can only quit. So here you have the aru conjugation. So learn this one. Learn it by heart because you will need it all the time. Not only because the verb arimasu is used by itself all the time, but also because you see, you can find it in some expressions. So you really have to master it. So you must know あります、ありません、ありました、ありませんでした。This should be fine. But then the casual form, so ある、ない、あっ た、なかった。ある、ない、あった、なかった。And so we have our sentence, so I simplified it. I deleted the なさそう. But we have 買い物は, so for shopping. 隣町に行くしかないね。隣町に行くしかないね。So 隣町に to the next turn. 行く will go and しかない have to then. So we will have no choice but to go to the next turn for shopping. So now let's get to the kanji part. So in this video, we're going to see two. So the first one is the kanji for father. So Chinese pronunciation is hu and Japanese pronunciation is chichi. As for the etymology, so you see the picture, so obviously it is not the etymology, but I found that it was like funnier and easier to remember with this picture. So of course, you don't have to know like the actual etymology to make some stories, to imagine things with kanji. For example, this picture is pretty good to remember it, and it's got nothing to do with the real etymology, but whatever. So as for the words that you can use, so it's a bit weird. Actually, we're going to explain this in another video because it's complicated. It's really like specific to the Japanese culture and how they see relationships, etc. But anyway, so chichi is used when you want to talk about, well, my father with another person and you want to be polite with this other person. In this case, when you want to talk about your father, well, you're going to say chichi. Then otosan, and I know this is very contradictory, but when you want to say like dad, you're speaking to your father, okay? You're speaking to your father. Then you can say otosan, and this is what you hear all the time in anime, okay? Like oni-san, one-san, oka-san, otosan. Of course, it's the same for every family member. But then otosan can also mean your father. So when you want to talk about someone else's father and you want to be polite, then you're going to say otosan. So it's very contradictory, but I will explain you why in another video. Then nothing more to say about this one, so let's go to the second kanji, which is the kanji for mother. So the Chinese pronunciation is bo, and the Japanese pronunciation is haha. As for the etymologies, it's quite funny actually. So first, let's start from this kanji, which is the kanji for woman, a woman. So at first, it was drawn this way. So I know like it transformed a lot, right? You can't recognize them right now, but it was drawn this way. And it represents someone who is kneeling with like her arms crossed in front of her or whatever. And so this person kneeling, at first people thought that it was because, you know, like a woman who was kneeling before a man because man, you know, they're powerful, etc., like her husband or whatever. But recently they thought that it was rather like kneeling before God. And then you can imagine like a priestess, God priestess who is kneeling before her God. So I don't know if you can see it, but like you see the lower part is the knees and the upper part is the arms. And so this is the kanji for woman. And then you take this kanji and you add 2 dots. So these dots, I guess you understand what it is. So it's, well, the bust. And so a mother is a woman with large breasts. Why? Because she's breastfeeding her baby. So a mother is a woman with like big breasts, you see? So this is the kanji for mother. And even if the kanji changed a lot, you can still recognize the original drawing. So it's pretty good. As for the word, so you have the same thing as for the father. You have haha for my mother when you're speaking about your mother to someone else. And then you have okasan when you're speaking to your mother, but also when you're talking about someone else's mother and you want to be polite. As for the Chinese pronunciation, we have interesting words here because we have, for example, bokoku. Bokoku. So koku is kuni, the country. So like the motherland. So your homeland. And then we also have bogo. So go, I think that you know it because eigo, nihongo. You see, at the end of languages in Japanese, we add go. So in most cases, we use the country name and then we add go, like Russia go, Kankoku go, Spain go, France go, Italia go, Deutsch go, etc., etc. So go is the kanji for language. And so bogo, well, it's just like in English, mother tongue. So thank you for watching this new video, and here you have a few exercises, not so much because we've actually not studied so many things, but let's keep it short because if the videos get too long then you might get confused and you won't be able to learn everything before watching the next video. So let's keep it short for the moment. Like I said in the previous video, don't worry, it won't get so long. Of course, when I say not so long, it's like few months, but it's normal, like we learn a whole new language. But it won't be so long before we can translate much more and study much more of the things we're studying, so don't worry. So once again, don't hesitate, don't forget to comment in Japanese and subscribe if you want to know when the next video is up.